That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's Monday night, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Hounds. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. We are exclusively on A2DRadio.com, going live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Twitch. Miss it, download us, podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, everywhere. Take over talk. Like, subscribe, share, turn those notifications on. Make sure you don't miss a damn thing here on A2D Radio. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Each and every week we are brought to you by our doc, make them yours too, specialized physical therapy, 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. I have a lot on my mind tonight. I do. It's kind of like a hodgepodge Monday. There's not many games on. It's a very thin slate in the MLB. The hockey's kind of winding down. The NBA's kind of winding down. It's kind of the calm before the storm before both those playoffs get going. And this is one of the rare lulls in the NHL season. So we're talking a lot of baseball tonight. We're going to talk some hockey, and we're going to touch on the NBA. The Phillies, the Yankees, the NL East, the power rankings, who's hot, who's not, which of these surprise teams do we believe in, which ones are phonies. We'll cover the American League and the National League. Yankees, Phillies, we'll have it all covered. Let's get to our poll question, though, brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off. The Philadelphia Phillies can still make the playoffs is the poll question. Now, Brad, you're in New York land, but you were able to watch some of the games over the weekend with the Yankees playing in
Saturday and Sunday.
Well, Saturday was a disaster. I'm sorry that we exposed you to that. I mean, I know you're.
That wasn't really, you know what? That was shocking.
I know you're used to the 27 world champions and the classic Yankees pinstripes, but we got problems.
Listen, I blew a couple of games this week too. You know, I mean, it's not. Yeah, to err is human. You know, it happens. But boy, oh boy, I keep hearing how the Phillies bullpen is a problem, but you know they have improved it a little bit. Alvarado is tremendous, by the way. I got to tell you,
big fan.
101 miles an hour. He's a big, large guy, and when he lets go of the ball, he looks like he's about maybe 50 feet from home plate with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And when he gets that curve over, he's unhittable. He's kind of like he reminds me a lot of Chapman, and he's got an attitude to boot, which I love relievers with attitudes. Yeah, to me I love it because you need to, when you're a reliever, you got to have an attitude. Otherwise you'll never make it. And I really like him. I guess my problem is Joe Girardi has seen a lot more of this team than I have, obviously. But in my short analysis and watching Hector Neris looks like as soon as he has to pitch from the stretch, he's lost. He loses his control. He's wild, and he's wild in the strike zone, which is worse than being wild out of the strike zone. And I mean, you can't allow your team to get tied by the Braves in that situation like that. Look, Sunday, what can you say? Nola was okay, and then Nola was okay after the disaster at the beginning. But I mean, it is what it is, and they have a lot. The Phillies have a lot of talent on that team. They do. I mean, I'm watching their lineup. They got a good lineup. I like their lineup. I like the starting pitching. I don't really hate the relief pitchers either. But that Neris, man, if he was a Yankee, I would be going absolutely bananas of why you guys keep putting him in as a closer. I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that he's blowing all these games. Put him in the 7th or 8th inning. I mean, Alvarado. To me, if Alvarado is throwing strikes, nobody's hitting him.
And this is why the fans are getting a little frustrated with Joe Girardi. I mean, he pulled the double switch. He pulls these double switches that make no sense, and he keeps trotting Neres out there in the 9th inning. Now, I don't know if he doesn't believe in Jose Alvarado as the closer. You have Coonrad, who's been he's been pretty good, but I'm good with leaving Coonrad in his role where he is.
Coonrad throws, boy, he throws hard. I'll tell you what,
he throws hard as well. But you know what? You found Coonrad. He's good at pitching in the 6th, the 7th, the 8th inning. Let's leave him there. Let's not try and have him close. Like
he's a keeper.
He's not broken. Let's not fix him.
And you know what?
Neres can't close.
I like the fact that Coonrad will go inside. I mean, he almost hit Acuna the first pitch, and then he got him in the hand. Now, he obviously wasn't trying to hit him, but he's pitching him inside. And you know what? I like relievers who have the guts to go inside and not be intimidated. You know, and Acuna put on a big act like he was shot dead to the world. But guess what? He came back the next night. He played.
Now, I am going to ultimately agree with this poll because they can make the playoffs. They're not backing off them being the second wild card because I think the National League is extremely weak, especially if the Braves are going to continue to scuffle, even though I do expect them.
The problem with the Braves, though, Rob, is you know what? If you guys played better baseball, okay, you could have opened up some space between them because they really got off to a bad start. You know, and you know, they're starting to come around and play better now. They finally got themselves, what are they, a game under 500, something like that?
Yeah, I have the standings. I have the standings right here.
Yeah, are they at 500 or are they a game under, something like that?
They are 17-17. The Phillies are 18-17. The Mets are 16-13, leading the division.
Yeah. Now, I heard something about DeGrom leaving.
Now, DeGrom, see, this is why they can still make the playoffs. There's all this bad stuff. I'm going to talk about the bad before I start through. But, yes, DeGrom did strain his back. He is going to go on the DL. His MRI came back clean.
So he'll miss what start?
2 weeks, 2 starts maybe. But, I mean, they got to be careful because he's been carrying that team for 8 years with little to no help. And if he suffers a serious injury, the Mets have no shot.
No, they're done. They're going to have a tough. It's going to be tough for them anyway.
And with the Phillies, everybody knows the bullpen has been in trouble. It's been in trouble for almost 2 years now, maybe even 3 years. With Gabe, with Girardi, with everybody. I mean, you have Neres, Robertson didn't work out. You signed Archie Bradley, he's out. You find Coonrad and Alvarado, but they look like good pieces, but you still can't seem to get it together. If you told me that Nola was going to have the stats that he had through, we'll say, 30 games? Yeah. 30, 35 games, about a quarter way through the season. If Nola had the stats he has, Wheeler, who's been terrific, had the stats that he had. Eflin, who's really locked down the third spot in the rotation, has the stats that he has. Even Vince Velasquez, somewhat locking down.
He looked good on Saturday night.
Somewhat locking down the 4th spot. I would say this team's 20-10. I don't understand. And obviously the bullpen are the woes. But, Brad, we talk about it every week. You can't have nothing from your center field position. The Phillies get nothing from center field. They don't get good defense, and they certainly don't get good offense. If I have to see Odubel Herrera airmail another throw from center field like he does, I'm going to lose my mind. Mickey Moniak's is stiff.
But
Adam Hazley's is stiff.
At least Odubel can hit the ball a little bit.
Can he? He used to be able to somewhat hit the ball. He might as well be up there with a lob.
He did hit a home. He hit a home run on Saturday night, didn't he?
Did he?
He had. I
was more focused. I
could have sworn he hit a home. Now again, I only got a 2-game sample, but from what I see of that team, that's a good team. I mean, again, the thing with Girardi that I didn't like with the Yankees was if he didn't like a reliever, he would keep sending him out there to send Cashman a message to get rid of the guy.
Well, he doesn't have to. Hold on. He doesn't have to send a message to Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski is a good general manager. He's a baseball guy, and he knows that that there is slop on this team. And I don't think Dave Dombrowski needs a message from Joe Girardi like Cashman has to make a move at the deadline to make this baseball team better. I fully expect Dave Dombrowski to be wheeling and dealing at the deadline to make this team better. Part of the reason why I agree to this poll question.
The crap that Girardi pulled when he was with the Yankees with Tyler Clippard, and I'm sure you remember Tyler Clippard, okay, who sucked. I mean, he was so bad, and Cashman wouldn't get rid of him, that he started bringing him in the 8th inning so that he could blow a few games. And then finally Cashman got the message and traded him to Houston, thank God. But, I mean, Girardi does stupid stuff like that to send messages when he wants somebody gone.
Well, I mean, double switching. He takes out Gene Segura, and what was it? Late in the game for a double switch. It's like he can double switch now because he's a National League manager. So all he wants to do is double switch. Like, relax, Joe. Relax. You got to relax. You can't take Gene Segura out. He's the only guy hitting the ball. And then I'm listening to the boys last night, the flagship show, agree or disagree, and everyone wants to get on Joe Girardi. And I made the comment that I think Joe Girardi looks like a C-minus manager right now because he has a C-minus roster. Now, on paper, this is not a C-minus roster. I agree with the boys. But what I see at 7:05 every night is C-minus slop. And it's got to stop, especially on the road. I mean, my God, 5-11 on the road, Brad. I mean, you got to hold your head. And they're phenomenal at home. The home cooking is real at Citizens Bank Park. They love playing at home. They bring the sticks at home. They pitch well at home. They don't do any of that on the road. But, and then you want to talk about the payroll, how it shouldn't be 18 and 17 with this payroll. Look, the only guy I trust on this roster that's making no money is Alec Bohm, who's a young guy.
He looks like a very good player, by the way.
And his defense is coming along. I think he can work hard and become a serviceable third baseman on the defense.
Looked okay this weekend.
He's had some gaffes. But I look at McCutchen.
He's a kid. He'll get better.
I look at McCutchen in left field. He's been an absolute busher. The defense on this team is a huge problem. So everyone wants to say that the bullpen stinks, and that's why they're 18 and 17. I understand that's a problem, but that's not the main reason they're 18 and 17. This is a bad defensive baseball team, and you're getting nothing from center field. That's why you're 18 and 17. Andrew McCutchen is a butcher in left field. He's finally starting to hit the baseball, so I can excuse it a little bit, but you can't be a butcher out there. You got to field the baseball. You can't give ML teams 4 or 5 outs. Rhys Hoskins, I mean, he goes from up there. Last 2 years, I've been screaming at Rhys Hoskins, stop going up there trying to draw a walk every time. Be a slugger. Now he's got 8 home runs and no walks. He's like at 280 on base percentage. Where's the middle ground?
I saw it.
Where's the middle ground, kid? And talking about butcher at first base, I mean, holy smokes. Rhys Hoskins is a horrible defensive first baseman. He's horrible.
Yeah, but you can live with that if he hits a lot of home runs, though.
But I can't. Because you can't. It's costing this team outs. And you can't give Major League Baseball teams 4, 5, 6 outs in an inning. Center field's been horrendous. Roman Quinn's a stiff. Herrera's a stiff. Hazley, Moniak. You have to get that to me, that's worse than the bullpen, center field. It's atrocious. You can't have nothing from your center fielder in a National League when you have no DH. So you have Harper making $330 million. You got
the problem is with center field. Center field's a tough position to fill. Because a lot of guys can play the corner outfield, positions, but center field, you have to have somebody who can actually run. And most teams that have good center fielders, they're not going to trade them. They're short.
This is why I was an advocate of signing Jackie Bradley Jr. in the offseason.
Yeah, but he can't hit it all though.
He's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. I don't need him.
He's a fabulous defensive player. But
I have Didi, I have Segura, I have Hoskins who's got some pop, I have McCutchen who's got some pop, and I got the big boys Harper and Realmuto. I shouldn't need more runs.
Yeah, but he's going to hit 210. That's the problem.
What am I getting now? I'm getting 083. I'm getting nothing.
I know, but at least you're not paying $10 million a year for 210.
That's how much he makes?
Jackie Bradley? Oh yeah, he's not
There's
cheap.
no way he makes that much money.
I would bet he does. I mean, he was signed as a free agent, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it's a late free agent.
He was making
signing.
he was making big money in Boston. I mean, I don't think he was making what he made in Boston, but I'm sure he made some decent money.
So like everyone wants to get bent out of shape about this team having a big payroll, being 18 and 17. Harper's a stud, $330 million man. Nola, Wheeler, they make money. They've been really good. They've been really good. Realmuto, hold on,
everybody's going to have
Realmuto.
a bad outing. You can listen.
I can excuse Sunday Night Baseball. That's not even. I'm not even mad. And Nola didn't have his stuff. He never pitches good in Atlanta, which is a problem in his own right.
A lot of guys don't.
He doesn't pitch well on the road. This is why I get on Aaron Nola for not being an ace. He's not an ace. He's the Phillies' number one, but being a number one and being an ace, it's totally different. It's totally different.
Oh yeah,
Garrett Cole, your boy Garrett Cole's an ace. DeGrom's an ace. Verlander in his day was an ace. Mad Max is still an ace. Kershaw's still an ace. Walker Buehler's an ace. Giolito's an ace. Aaron Nola ain't on that level. Neither is Zach Wheeler. And I'm not so sure Aaron Nola isn't the best pitcher on the team. I don't think he's the best pitcher on the Phillies. I think Zach Wheeler is.
I think Wheeler's better. Wheeler is going to give you innings every time he goes out now.
So like everyone wants to get on me like Aaron Nola's not an ace, but he's been good. He's been good. And Wheeler's been good, and they make money. And Realmuto makes money, and he's great defensively, and he's great offensively. D makes money.
They're carrying their weight. If that's
D makes money. So you have 5 guys that take up what, maybe 80% of this payroll. Eflin's not making nothing. Velasquez isn't making nothing. Segura's not really making anything. Bohm's still a prospect rookie deal guy. I mean, McCutchen's making some money, and he's. I haven't been pleased with him at all.
Yeah, but this is the last year of his contract, so.
Well, that's fine, but I mean,
but the whole thing is, if you wanted to get rid of him at the trade deadline, you probably could.
I don't understand who's going to take an aging guy who can't even see the ball, who can't field.
In the American League?
Maybe he can DH. Maybe he can DH. Maybe he can DH somewhere. I don't know. But, I mean, defense, and then not to mention National League. If you want to be Mr. Double Switch, Joe Girardi, you got to have a bench. Phillies don't have a bench. I mean, Matt Joyce, come on. Matt Joyce? You kidding me?
Matt Joyce is old.
Matt Joyce is old, and I understand how he can be somewhat versatile because he can play some positions for you.
He's got some power.
But I mean, come on, Brad Miller.
No, that's true. I mean, you look at who comes off the bench for the Braves. Sandoval, he's 5 for 17 now, and 4 of them are home runs.
And you have a guy in Atlanta's organization, Johan Camargo, who would be by far the best bench guy in Philadelphia. The Braves don't even have a spot for him.
No, I know. They listen. The Braves have a very good lineup. Their pitching hasn't been all that good this year, and that's what's kind of held them back. Freeman got off to a terrible start too, but he's starting to come around. I mean, listen. Albies got off to a bad start too, and now he's coming around as well. But I mean, the thing is, the Braves are still going to be the team to beat in that division, and the problem is, a lot of these teams, the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, had a chance to really put some pressure on the Braves if they won more games and have them about 5-6 games out by now, and it just didn't happen. And now the Braves are playing 500 ball, but they're only a game and a half out of first.
Yeah, the Mets are in first. The Phillies are only a game like this NL East. It's going to be a 3-team dogfight, I think. I think the Phillies are talented enough to right this ship, and especially on the road, you can't be this bad on the road. It's got to even out at some point. It's got to even out at some point. But look at the East. Like, I'm not impressed with Washington at all. They're an aging roster, and Juan Soto can't really seem to stay healthy. And I don't really know what's going on because I thought they would be much improved with the addition of Josh Bell, who I really like.
Yeah, Schwarber.
Schwarber stinks.
Schwarber does stink. I mean, he had a bomb yesterday, but that was only his second of the year. I mean, if you were to sit and tell me Kyle Schwarber would only have 2 home runs in the middle of May, or rather in the first week of May, I would be shocked to hear that.
And Miami, the Miami Marlins, they're the only team with a plus run differential in the whole division at plus 20. Mets are -3, Phillies are -8, Braves are -12, Washington are -17, which astonishes me because Washington is built around those starting pitchers, even though Corbin's been awful for the most part, and Strasburg's been hurt. Surprise, surprise. So I don't like Washington even a little bit.
Well, Miami's problem right now is that they're missing their 2 best players. They're missing.
Chisholm's banged up.
Jazzy Chisholm is not going to be back until the weekend. The outfielder, what's his name again? Marte.
Yeah, he's out. Sixto Sanchez. Remember when I said that Phillies trade was a no-brainer with Sixto Sanchez because he's injury prone? He hasn't picked up a baseball yet this year. Hasn't thrown 1 inning.
They're not
Everyone wants to get enamored by the Bleacher Report updates that he's throwing 100 miles an hour one time in a playoff game where the Marlins shouldn't have even been in the playoffs because it was a Fugazi fake news playoff 60-game season. Everyone wants to say the Phillies lost that trade. Get a clue.
No, not when
Sixto Sanchez he's like the 4th starter there. Pablo Sanchez is good. Trevor Rogers looks like a real player. Maybe he's the 3rd guy.
That other guy, Adrianza, is that his name? Sandy Alcantara.
Alcantara, yeah, he's good too.
Sandy Alcantara can pitch. He's pretty good. So you look at that team's pitching staff. It's pretty good. They don't have Marte right now, and Chisholm is going to be. I don't know how long Marte is going to be out. I know Chisholm is going to be back this weekend. He's on my fantasy team, so I kind of keep track of that. So I would know that.
Yeah, we had a big match this week, cuz.
Yes, we do. I saw it the pre prediction.
Yeah, my projection, Yahoo projection, it starts around 400. Then by the end of the week, it's at like half that. So I wouldn't go by that. My team's not good.
It changed again. You're like You're at 374, and I'm at 359.
Doesn't mean anything.
No. Listen, I think that projector hates me every week because every week they pick me to go under 300, and I'm in the mid threes. And then last week because I had means with the no hitter.
That's a bunch of no hitter. That's a bunch of points.
That's like 70 points.
Yeah, 70 points in one side. He's probably the highest scorer in the whole league because of that.
Yeah, especially when you get 10 strikeouts to go along with that.
Right.
That just
my team stinks. I made a bad trade with you.
Which one? You mean
Manaea for Rhys Hoskins. I panicked after the draft because I didn't have a first baseman. And I traded you Sean Manaea for Rhys Hoskins, and it's going to haunt me the rest of the season.
Manaea is very up and down. You do know that, right?
Yeah, but he's still. I mean,
when he's
there's Mr. Up and Down Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah. Well,
Brad, he doesn't get on base, and he strikes out a lot. I thought like maybe he would do good.
Maybe he's got to go back. Maybe he's got to go back to being more selective again. I think part of the problem with Rhys Hoskins is that he's swinging at pitches that aren't in the strike zone. I think that's the problem. I'm guessing that along with everybody else, Joe Girardi probably told him he needs to start swinging the bat more, and then he'll hit more home runs.
Well, at least they finally moved him out of the 2-hole. I mean, if I saw him in the 2-hole for any more extended period of time, I was going to lose my mind.
Yeah, you don't want him in the 2-hole. He should be like a number 6 hitter. I think
5th or 6th, even 6th, down, move him down,
7.
Take the pressure off.
7. Yeah, 6, maybe 7.
Hit him 6 and tell him to just go play baseball. See the ball, hit the ball. Make it super simple for him.
And if you want to get your walks, take your walks if there's a pitch that you don't think you can handle, and it's a ball. Don't go out of the strike zone. I mean, Rob, Giancarlo Stanton. Okay, I'm going to use him as a perfect example. You know why he's on fire now? Because he's not swinging pitches a foot outside anymore. Somebody finally got in his ear or into the video room and showed him all the pitches that he was swinging at. and he's swinging it. Look, he still strikes out a lot, okay, but he's swinging at strikes, and you can have patience for somebody if they're swinging at strikes and missing, if they're hitting as well as he is right now.
But Brett, don't you understand? I had a problem with Gabe Kapler and how he the approach that they tried to preach to Rhys Hoskins. I want you to walk. That's great. A walk is good as a hit, but I don't want you as my first baseman going to the plate looking to walk. I want you to be looking. I want you to be looking to drive the baseball. If you're looking to drive the baseball and nothing comes your way and you get a walk, that's fine. But his approach was his approach is either I got to drive the baseball at all costs. No, he's got to find a middle ground. Phillies really need Rhys Hoskins to step up. It really need Rhys Hoskins. Wasn't it before the season I said Aaron Nola and Rhys Hoskins had to put on their big boy pants if this team wanted to get the 90 wins and get in the playoffs?
Yep.
So Aaron Nola's doing his part. I can excuse last night because he's been pretty good overall. And you're gonna even the best ones they throw in a closer.
Well, I guess here's my question to you, and I have a closer in mind for the Phillies that might very well be available in June or July if things continue to go the way they're going. And we're talking about Jesus Colomé in Minnesota, who's a pretty good closer. And Minnesota right now looks pretty hapless. And I don't know if they're gonna. And that's not because J.A. Happ is on the team either. That I'm saying,
but I'm trading. If I'm Dombrowski and I'm the Phillies, I'm trading for a center fielder before I'm trading for a bullpen guy. I know that sounds weird because the narrative in this city over the past 2 years is this bullpen stinks and it's holding us back. But the center fielder is the centerpiece of the outfield. It's the centerpiece of the outfield. It's a tremendously important position, both offensively and defensively, especially in the National League. And the Phillies are getting nothing from offensively or defensively from their center field position. Roman Quinn, I can't watch him anymore. Go run track. Adam Hazley, I don't even know where he is. He left the team for personal reasons. I don't even know where he is. I don't even know if he's going to come back. Mickey Moniak, the first overall pick in the 2015 draft. He stinks. He's a stiff. Odubel Herrera, I've seen enough. I was an advocate for giving him a second chance. I believe in second chances. He made a mistake with the domestic violence, but I mean he's done nothing to show me that he deserves to be the long-term center fielder for this baseball team. And Scott Kingery, he can pack his bags and hit the bricks too, because he's a stiff. So you got the 5 guys that are eligible for center field, possible options for the center field for the Phillies are absolute total stiffs. I'm trading for a center fielder before I trade for anything else. Anything else. And second on that, I need a bench guy. I need a utility guy. I mean, Matton's been pretty good. He can barrel up the baseball. He made a name for himself in spring, and Joe Girardi picked him for the team. And he did good when Didi was out. He did good when Segura was out. Maybe he can play center field. I don't know. But at least I like him.
Here's another thought, and I don't know if you have the chips to do it, but again, I'm going to go back to Minnesota. Minnesota looks like they are not going to have a good year, and Byron Buxton's going to be making the big bucks pretty soon. I mean, that might be. I would love to add Byron Buxton to this baseball team. Well, I mean, it might. Listen, I'm not sure how many years he's been in the league. I'm thinking he's been in the league at least 5 years. So if he's been in the league, at least 5 years. I think maybe even 6. So this could be a walk year for him, or if it's not a walk year, he's only got a year left after this year. So you might find him available too, because Minnesota's a small market team. I don't think they're gonna want to pay him $20 million a year.
I just don't know what chips the Phillies have because, every guy they pick, like Hazley was the 7th pick in the draft, I think in 2017. He's a stiff. Mickey Moniak was the 1st overall pick in the draft in 2015.
I'm sure there are guys in their system.
Like Medina, Spencer Howard, these guys that are supposed to be coming up as prospects, like they're nowhere. They can't give you nothing. Look at these guys that come up for these other teams. Like you can tell that they can play.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but there's still your guys. A lot of your guys are still in low-level minor leagues. That's all. But I mean, Minnesota to me is a team that has a lot of players on their team whom I think you're going to see go at the trade deadline.
But like I look at a team like Detroit as well. Like they got an outfielder named Robbie Grossman there, who's having a pretty good season so far. You know, he can run.
All he does is walk. He can run. He walks a lot. He's not a great hitter, but I mean, yeah, he'd be a good serviceable player.
Yeah, but we need a bench. I need a bench. I need a bench, Brad.
You could bat him leadoff. He'd fit.
I'm not sure if he can play center field or not, but wasn't he a first baseman? Wasn't he a first baseman as well for Oakland?
I never saw him play first base. I saw him play a lot of left field in Oakland. He's fast. He steals a lot of bases. I mean, that's one thing he does do, and he gets a lot of walks, and he's a pretty good outfielder. I don't recall him having a strong arm, but I mean,
you could trade for him. There's no way that would cost you that much.
No, probably not.
And he comes in. If he could play center field, that'd be phenomenal.
Does Haniger play center or right?
I don't think Seattle. I mean, Seattle's building really nice out there. They got a really nice ball team they're developing. They just
stink. They have no.
What's that?
They stink. They have no pitching.
They can hit.
It's okay. It's not great.
Well, I love Kyle Lewis. They just brought up Kliniak.
I mean, listen, they have some pieces, but they're still a long way away from being.
Jury's still out on Justice Sheffield. I bet them over 72.5 wins. Them and the Royals. I bet them over 72.5 wins.
Royals have really hit on hard times.
Yeah, they started hot, and
they've lost 7 in a row going into yesterday. I don't recall what they did yesterday.
They just don't have the pitching to
No, that's the problem.
Stop these losing streaks.
Yeah, but I mean the White Sox.
Their lineup
is still they're in first place. I think they're going to run away with that division.
So this is why I ultimately agree to the poll. The Phillies can still make the play. And we'll go around the MLB. We'll get to your comments. They can still. They're only a game back of the New York Mets, who have DeGrom on the shelf, and I don't think the Mets they're not world beaters. Like their bullpen stinks too, and everyone wants to say the Phillies. Like who has a good bullpen in baseball these days?
The Yankees have a good bullpen.
The Yankees, I would say the Padres have a good bullpen.
Padres have a good bullpen.
But like Atlanta doesn't have a good bullpen.
No.
The Braves don't have a a good bullpen.
The Nationals have a good bullpen, but they can't hit. The Nationals can't hit.
And he's been struggling.
Hand against the Yankees is Hand's been brutal against the Yankees. If you recall last year in the playoffs, the Yankees bombed him to Kingdom Come.
I'm just you look around the league, bullpen, nobody really has a good one.
Hey, I have a
select few teams.
I have a question for you fans out there, as well as for you, Rob. If a relief pitcher blows 2 saves, can a relief pitcher actually blow 2 saves if they blow the game twice? Because Hand on Saturday came in with the Nationals ahead 2-1 and gave up the tying run. And then in the 10th inning, he came in. I would say no.
I would say no, because you blow the save, you're on the hook for the loss. Then they get it back.
And then
you're on the hook for the win, but there's 2 save opportunities. I guess you could.
Yeah, because I mean he blew it in the 9th, and then he blew it in the 10th, and then somebody else lost the game in the 11th. I can't remember who they brought in the 11th, but he had the lead going into the 9th, and then he blew it, and then the Nationals scored in the 10th, and he stayed in to pitch the 10th, and he blew it. So I'm just wondering, can you get charged with 2 blown saves in the same game?
I guess, right? Why not?
That'd be brutal for your stat line, huh?
But I mean, look, I think Dombrowski is going to tweak this team. I think Joe is a good manager. He's gotta find his way a little bit with these double switches.
Joe
Stop
can
being
manage.
Mr.
Listen, Joe can manage a bullpen if you give him.
He's
one.
really gotta chill on these double switches though.
That was one of his strengths as a Yankee manager.
Yeah, but there's just certain guys you don't take out of the baseball game, and Gene Segura is one of them, especially when he's the only guy hitting consistently. He finally put him in the 2-hole over Rhys Hoskins, and like. The only thing that worries me about the Phillies is that Eflin and Velasquez are going to fall off a cliff and stop pitching good. And then you wasted their good 6-week start because your bullpen's being a bunch of stew-nods and your manager's being a little bit of a stew-nod, and you're back to having 2 out of 5 starters because the fifth starter is nothing.
Finally, these guys have been in the league long enough. Maybe
I think Eflin, I believe in way more than Velasquez. I think Eflin could be – well, Eflin has the stuff to be a 162-game pitcher. I don't think that Velasquez does.
I mean, there are some pitchers. There are some pitchers who will get off to great starts and then fall apart every year, like Pivetta used to, if you recall. And there are some, but there's other guys who pitch who just they have great games and then they're inconsistent. But the young guys that are inconsistent, if they're able to overcome that inconsistency, can be breakout pitchers. And Eflin, I think, has the ability to do that. I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago when he shut out the Yankees in Citizens Bank Park? I think it was 2 years ago. I mean, he's got some ability. There's no reason why he can't be a good pitcher all year long.
Let's get to some comments. The comment board brought to you by looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career brokerage. Contact Alan Foy, eXp Realty, 302-682-8820. Visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. Rosca, he's in the house. Coyotes, they're really cleaning house. He's ready for the NHL and NBA playoffs. Yeah, Rick Tocchet not coming back in Arizona.
You may see him in New York.
Thomas Arnone underachieving again. I know Tom's all worked up. He's all worked up. I saw him last night. He was about to blow an annual. Let this thing play out in the East a little bit. Let's let this thing play out a little longer in the East. Let's see what Dombrowski does at the deadline. Because you have a good core of guys that I believe in that make the money here. The problem is they don't have the complementary pieces yet in center field, the bench, and obviously the bullpen is what it is. Let's pump the brakes. You're 18-17. You're a game out. Grom's on the DL. I don't believe in the Mets, and for whatever reason, Atlanta hasn't put it together yet.
That's the whole point.
Just relax.
That's the fortunate thing, Atlanta. If they got off to one of those 20-13 starts, or 21-13, something like that, I mean, then it would be a problem. But they haven't. They've been very mediocre. So everybody's kind of packed right in together.
Mike Parker's in the house. He agrees. This team has had bright spots. I agree with that. I still definitely think they can make the play. And you know what? I kind of expect them to make the playoffs. I kind of do.
They really should. Because if you take a look at it, okay, in the Central, I mean, the Cardinals are playing pretty much the way we expected. That they probably would win that division.
I was a hater on the Cardinals. I was wrong.
But I mean, you like Milwaukee, and with good reason. But you didn't know Yelich was going to be out. For 3/4 of the season already. I mean, if Yelich isn't going to be playing a lot, or when he returns, if he's going to be the Yelich of last year and not the Yelich of 2 years ago, I don't think Milwaukee has a shot to beat St. Louis. I mean, they're going to be a paper champion because as soon as they have to play a good team, they're not going to score because they'll be too easy to play against. Because when you only have two guys that can hit, it's very, very hard to win in the playoffs because you're going against other teams who have great pitching.
Greg Milakovic's announced he agrees to the poll as well, just out of op. But things got to change quickly. I mean, if no one's going to run away with this division, and I'm not going to believe in Washington, and Let's throw Miami to the side because I don't think they have enough talent over 162 games to hang with the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies. I mean, game out, quarter way of the season. I mean, yeah, you got to.
Yeah, but you're only a game behind the Mets. Okay, you're not.
You got to hammer that away Saturday night.
You
got to hammer that away.
Stay
Saturday
ahead of
night.
Atlanta. That's the team. That's the team you gotta. That's the team you gotta beat. That you gotta beat. The Mets are not the team to beat in that division. I think we both know that. I think all the Phillies fans should know that too.
Put Sunday night baseball aside for a second, because if you win Saturday night, if you get that away, you blow the game and you blow a 7-4 lead in extras, and it was ugly. It was ugly and it was frustrating and it was unacceptable. If you win that game on Saturday and then lose on Sunday night baseball, no one's enraged. No one's enraged on Monday morning. No one's enraged Monday for the Sports Hounds at 7:15. No one. I'm not really enraged. I'm disappointed that they can't salt that one away on Saturday night. But I mean, Noah is what he is. Noah is what he is.
That would be the annoying game. I mean, Sunday night, all right. You know, I mean, you weren't really in the game, and that guy Noah right now is pitching extremely well. So okay, you know, you lost that game, but the game Saturday, you had that game. You know, I mean, and Neris gave it up, and I mean, it happened too much with that guy. I mean, as I said, if it was me managing the team, not that I'm such a brilliant manager, okay, but if it was me, I would have Alvarado closing. To me, he looks like the kind of guy who can get everybody out.
I mean,
when he's out there, he's not afraid to throw strikes. He looks mean. He takes that big stride. He throws 100 miles an hour. I mean, that big stride of his, he's like 50 feet away from the batter by the time he's done pitch. By the time he lets go of that baseball, you know, that's almost unhittable. It's very hard. And he's death against lefties. He's absolute death against lefties. I mean, I think Joe should really consider giving him a couple of shots at closing. I mean, you know, what do you have to lose? You can always put Neris back. Yeah, could always put Neris back. You know,
Neris should be not in the ninth inning.
I agree.
Not in high leverage situations. Neris needs to be removed from high leverage situations.
You put him in the seventh. You know, and maybe you get the kid Coonrod a shot in the eighth. He looks like a pretty good pitcher.
He throws hard.
He throws gas. You know, and Atlanta sure as heck didn't have an answer for him. I mean, they didn't have an answer for anybody until Neris came in the game, and then it was, it was Goodnight Irene basically.
Bill Middlebrook, you're right, Rob. They could easily have 20, 25 wins. Before last night, 9 of their 10 losses were one-run losses. That's good info from Bill Middlebrook. But, yeah, I'll say it again. If you told me before the season that basically a quarter way through this baseball season, Nola would be pitching like he's pitching, Wheeler would be pitching like he's pitching, Eflin and Velasquez would be pitching like they're pitching, well on our way to 90 wins. Well on our way to 90 wins. I don't get it because the offense sputtered out of the gate and the bullpen's the bullpen. I hate this bench, and center field's a disaster. Mike Trout, MLB Network on. Mike Trout's up. Hitting .376 on the season, Brad.
Yeah, he's having an awesome beginning. You know, he's not one, and you know, all this bullshit with the launch angle stuff. You don't see him changing his swing to have a bigger launch angle. He just hits line drive all over the place, and a lot of them go over the fence because he's so strong. But how great is he?
He's terrific.
Yeah,
he's absolutely terrific.
There's a lot of talk about him playing right field. You know,
what's he play now? Center.
Yeah, they're thinking that it might be better on his legs. And for his career, maybe to move him to right because, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. As long as you got a stick in the lineup.
Yep. Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's a beast. But they're to me, I think they're pretty good. As I said, I don't think there's that much. If they can find a way, as I said, to come out there and go get yourself. Talk to Kansas City too. Kansas City's got some pretty good relief pitchers. You know, between Stormont and Holland, they're not bad. They could certainly improve the Phillies pitch. Kansas City's not going anywhere. I don't care what anybody says. That they just don't have enough pitching. They're not as good as the White Sox.
David Rosca wants to know where Albert Pujols is going to play. I don't know. I was looking at his baseball reference last night. He might be the greatest first baseman of all time.
Of all time?
He might be.
Okay, maybe in the last 50 years, but I mean, if you start going back to the early days,
Jimmy Fox and Lou Gehrig and all them guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about them, probably not. But I mean, Willie McCovey was a first baseman. Willie Stargell.
Albert Pujols is right there. Albert Pujols 9 times in his career walked more than he struck out.
That's pretty damn good.
That's unbelievable.
That's pretty damn good.
I mean, you look at his averages: 350s, 340s, 330s.
Do you think he was better? Because I would give the argument, even though I despise this individual, Manny Ramirez to me was the best right-handed hitter I've ever seen.
Maybe if you're just going to look at offense, I mean, Manny was obviously terrific, but Pujols in his heyday was a really good glove.
They were different positions, though. But remember, Pujols played first, and Manny played left. And
Manny was they just stuck him in left field because he could hit.
Yeah, well, he came up as a right fielder, and then they moved him to left because in Fenway Park, if the ball's over his head, it's probably going to be off the wall.
I mean, look, I don't know. At Pujols, you got he's Rookie of the Year. He's a 3-time MVP. He's a 10-time All-Star. He's a 2-time World Series champion. He's a 2-time Gold Glover. He's won a batting title. He's won 6 Silver Slugger awards. He was the MVP in the NLCS. I mean, what more do you want?
Well, I think Bill Middlebrook is a Red Sox fan, is he not?
Yeah.
Bill, help us out here. Who is the better offensive player between those guys?
Look, whatever. If you want to just make offense, then that's fine. I mean, Pujols
was a great offensive player. The thing is, when he was
his last good season was 14. Not really. He had a decent season in 16.
He gave the Angels like maybe 3 decent years, and then he was terrible after that. He wasn't terrible. He just compared to what he used to be, he was a shell.
And what they paid him. But he also played for peanuts for the Cardinals for how many years? And
he was the linchpin on that Cardinal team that won those 2 championships.
He had an OPS over 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times he had an OPS over 1,000.
That's really good.
That's ridiculous. 21 years.
I don't have Manny's statistics in front of me, so I couldn't give you exact.
I'll look them up.
Figures. I'm just.
I'll bring them up.
Okay.
Go to our baseball. I'll bring them up. But Manny Ramirez.
I'm just curious because, I mean, obviously as an American League fan, I saw Ramirez play the Yankees 19 times a year for how many years? I mean, as much as I couldn't stand him, I just thought he was the best right-handed hitter I've ever seen.
Right. I mean, Manny, OPS, Manny had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, offensively, I guess, if you're just going to look at the offensive side.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the stick because, left field is not – playing left field in Fenway Park does not require a heck of a lot of skill. I mean, maybe you need to learn how to play the wall, but, if the ball's over your head, it's probably going to be a home run. So.
I mean, Manny Ramirez never won a Gold Glove. Manny Ramirez was never the MVP of his respective league.
No, probably not.
He's not. I have it right in front of me.
No. And
he was a 9-time Silver Slugger. a 12-time All-Star, 2-time World. He did win a World Series MVP, which is a nice feather in your cap, and he did win a batting title. Who did he win the batting title? He won the batting title. 349, I guess, in 02. 349. That probably gets you a batting title, right?
Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous season.
We also have to remember one thing though. Manny also
he was an asshole.
Yeah, he was
an jerk off.
And B, he hit behind that fat. He hit in front of that fat Ortiz, who.
But I mean, a 312 batting average as opposed to a 298 for Pujols.
That's not
that kind of.
I mean, I would say that they're probably they're on pretty level playing ground then.
Like Albert Pujols. I was comparing him to all time his stats to all time greats. I guess it was last night when I was bored on Baseball Reference because I love BaseballReference.com.
Yes.
If you bring up Mickey Mantle and Albert Pujols and look at their 162 game average and the longevity of their careers and the numbers they put up, pretty close to identical. And Mickey Mantle was
the difference
good.
Was Mickey was a switch hitter, which is pretty.
I'm just looking at numbers that Pujols is comparable to a legend
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, but Mickey, Mickey had that one year when he hit 365, 52 homers and 160 RBIs. I mean,
hey, 56, 57, he won the MVPs, and he won the MVP in 62, and I think 56 he won the Triple Crown, right?
Right.
I mean, Triple Crown is unreal.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to do. And I mean, listen, honorable mention to Miguel Cabrera. I mean, he's done now, but I mean, when he was in his prime,
he's unbelievable. To win a Triple Crown in that ballpark for Miguel Cabrera in Detroit.
In that ballpark, which now is a little easier to hit home runs, but it used to be Yellowstone Park out there. It didn't matter to him. And Miguel could hit home runs to right field and left field with the same ease that Pujols used to do, and and Manny Ramirez used to do the same thing. I mean, same kind of guy, same player.
And then Pujols with one of the most iconic moments in postseason history with that homer off Lidge.
Oh, yeah.
With how far that went. I mean, that means, at least to me, that means something.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, they won 2 World Series with him, right?
Yeah, 2-time champion, yeah.
Yeah, he's a 2-time champion. For a while there, the Giants and the Cardinals were taking turns winning championships for 5 years in a row? It was Cardinals, Giants, Cardinals, Giants, Cardinals, and then it was Giants, Cardinals, Giants, Cardinals, Giants, Cardinals. No, two for the Cardinals, 3 for the Giants, but still, that's those were basically the 2 best teams. And then you had McCovey, who was a great first baseman too. But McCovey was a different kind of hitter. McCovey was a dead pull hitter. Pujols was not a dead pull hitter.
Yeah, but McCovey, I mean. Let me bring up his stat because some of these guys are before my time. You watched all these guys.
Yeah, McCovey was very good. McCovey batted behind Mays.
Let me compare Willie McCovey, he's obviously in the Hall of Fame, which Albert Pujols will be in the Hall of Fame one day. I don't think there's any.
Yeah, Albert Pujols will be there too. Yeah, that's it.
Willie McCovey was only a 1-time MVP. He was an All-Star Game MVP. He's a 6-time All-Star and a Rookie of the Year, which Albert Pujols did. I don't even see how it's close between McCovey and Pujols. I mean, Willie McCovey's lifetime average is 270. Yeah, he hit 521 home runs, which I think Albert Pujols is over 600.
So then he's definitely better than that. He's better than him. He's better than Jim Thome for sure.
Yeah, I mean, who else you want to throw in there? Gehrig, your boy Gehrig from the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but he played at a different time. That was a different.
I mean, Gehrig he won the Triple Crown as well. He was a batting champion. Obviously, if you win the triple round,
I mean, his Gehrig statistics are off the charts. Nobody's going to match up to him offensively.
in 17 years, he hit 340.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's going to match up to him offensively.
493 home runs, but I mean, I don't know. I guess they didn't have Gold Gloves back then.
No,
I can't imagine he would have no Gold Gloves.
From what I've read about Gehrig, he was not a real good first baseman.
Okay, but he played every day. His nickname's the Iron Horse.
Well, yeah, he played 2,190 games in a row. I mean, and then and it took a deadly disease to get him out of the lineup. I mean, he was 37 when he retired, and then he died when he was 40.
And then who else you want to put in there? Jimmy Fox? Like Tim told me, he's not an all-time great.
No.
He's one of the better first basemen of like the 90s, 2000s era.
Yeah, he played a long time. And was a DH for the most part.
So like Jimmy Fox, 325 lifetime average, 534 home runs. I mean, three-time MVP. He won the triple count too.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess like if you're looking at it.
Yeah, but if you're comparing Pujols, you can compare him to the all-time greats.
You can.
He is one of the all-time great first basemen. I mean, he's definitely better than McCovey. He's better than Stargell. And right there, you're talking about two guys who anyone of us would love to have on their team. But Stargell, don't kid yourself. Stargell was really good. I mean, yeah, he was really, really good. So, as far as first basemen are concerned, yeah, right there. And
so you have Fox and Gehrig that probably get the edge.
Yeah,
Christian Soretta, 04 to 09, Ryan Howard, but that's a 5-year stretch.
I can see him. I could see Pujols.
Like these guys we're talking about now, they did what Ryan Howard did 04 to 09 over 20 years. So
how about Pujols signed with the White Sox? La Russa's there, maybe.
Oh, you're talking about now? Okay.
Yeah.
But does he want to play every day?
I don't know, but he could DH a lot there. Because Jimenez.
I guess. I mean, they have injuries because Luis Roberts out.
Yeah, they have
Jimenez is out.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries now. So
maybe that would work.
Yeah.
If I had a young team, I would be wanting to. Like
they do have a young team. That's what I'm saying. He actually would be perfect.
I'm trying to think who else would fit that bill because I don't think he can play in the National League.
No, he can't play.
He's got to sign with an American League team.
That's what I'm saying. I think the White Sox would be a perfect spot for him because he can DH. He can DH. He can give their first baseman a rest. When he needs a rest. But I mean, I think he could be pretty proficient on that team. I think there's a spot for him. And you know what? I think if he doesn't play every day, I think with La Russa being the manager, I think because they're both a little older, I think that would be a match.
That's probably the best.
That would be my best guess. I mean, if you're asking me, just only because of La Russa, though. I mean, that's why that's the reason I was thinking about it.
We got 27 watching us live on Facebook right now. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share, subscribe, hit those notifications. Don't miss anything here on A2D Radio. Talking baseball, talking a lot of baseball tonight. We hit on the Phillies. We hit on Albert Pujols and kind of his legacy because it looks like he's done, even though someone will probably sign him just out of respect. I feel like. But let's hit the American League for a little bit, and we'll hit some of these surprise teams and who we're buying and who we're not. Brad, I think the Yankees are going to be fine.
Yeah, they came out of it. I mean, they had a great homestand. I mean, they went 7-2 on this last homestand. They're 2 games over 500. Big test these next 3 games. Okay, we don't want to give that. They're playing Tampa Bay. You don't want to give them back. I mean, they battled their way back over 500 when they were 5 games under 500 and really looking awful. They battled their way back. Stanton is red hot. Gleyber Torres is starting to hit the ball now, and so is Aaron Hicks. Kluber has been outstanding his last 3 or 4 outings. So, and then Herman's been pretty good too. So looks like their pitching's coming around. Really, we're just kind of waiting on Judge. Judge has been a strikeout machine the last couple of weeks. So hopefully he gets rolling. And when he gets if he and Stanton never get rolling at the same time, look out. That's when you're really gonna see
what you want. And then you're gonna get Voit back.
Yeah, well, they're getting Voit back. Maybe
weekend,
maybe the weekend, maybe for the Tampa Bay series. I know they said he's going to be playing on this road trip. They didn't say when, but they said
he's on assignment. He's on assignment in the minors.
Well, yeah, he's been ripping the cover off the ball in the minors, so he's about ready to go. So that'll be a huge addition, because if you think about how bad they've been at first base, I mean, Mike Ford is hitting under 100. They had Miggy in there for the last couple of games, and he hasn't done anything either. And DJ LeMahieu, it seems like when he plays first base, he doesn't hit. So you really want to keep DJ at second base if you can. So and they need to get Urshela back, and they need Urshela to stay healthy. Even though Urshela hasn't been great, he's still hitting about 280. So I mean, he hasn't been a bad player, but I mean he came up slow because of the injury to his elbow. So he started the season off slow, and then he got hot and then got hurt. So we'll see what happens with him.
Well, I think Herman coming up and pitching well has really helped the Yankees as well.
Oh yeah, no, he's been very.
That takes pressure off Kluber and Taillon, who can be hit or miss. I know
Taillon's been pitching a little bit better too. I mean, their whole starting rotation has been a lot better, other than Cole, who's been great all season. But their whole starting rotation's been really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing this week, because you're going to have Montgomery on Tuesday, then Cole Wednesday, and should be Kluber on or Taillon on Thursday. I would guess it's Taillon, because Kluber pitches after Taillon. So you're going to have number 5, number 1, and number 2 coming up against Tampa. So we'll see what happens. Now Tampa also is injured with the loss of their closer, which is not going to help.
They had new injury?
Well, what's his name?
Well, Fairbanks has been out for a while.
It's not Fairbanks. It's like
I think he's back now.
Diego Castillo, is that his name?
Okay, he's hurt now.
He's hurt now.
I missed that.
Yeah, he's on the DL, so and he's going to miss the series. So they're missing their.
I don't believe in Tampa.
Yeah, I think
I don't believe it.
I think you better believe in them. Tampa Bay just has a way of winning games. They know how to win, and you know what? They still have Glass now, who's still an outstanding. He to me is a legitimate ace. He's real good. Rich Hill, we'll see. I mean, I'm not sold on him.
No, because they can't play games like they played last year in 60 games over 162 games. You just can't do it. Can't do it.
They can't.
Not going to work.
They can't. I guess is the Wander Franco watch on yet in Tampa?
Yeah, he's him and so they're about to get a whole new middle infield from their farm system.
Because I would think Adames is going to be gone soon.
It looks like they're gonna put Wander Franco, who's been the number 1 prospect for a couple years now. He's in AAA, tearing the cover off the ball. And it looks like they're gonna bring him up, play him at second base, and then they have this Vidal Brujan at shortstop, who's
wait a minute.
highly regarded.
They're gonna put him at second base. What are they gonna do with the Rogerina then?
Isn't Rogerina an outfielder?
I thought he was a second baseman.
No, I think he's an outfielder.
Maybe he is an outfielder. Yeah, maybe he is. I'm just trying to think who they're Meadows. The center field.
Rosarina's in right.
He's in right. Okay. Never mind then.
Or maybe he's in left. I don't know, but they're about to get a whole new middle infield. It sounds like.
Yeah. They're on the.
Which maybe that can sway my opinion of the Rays. Yeah, and then I don't know what Red Sox are up at the top of the East, tearing the cover off the ball. They're 22-13. I don't believe in their pitching a little bit, but
well, I don't believe that you're going to see Bogarts hitting 375 all season either.
no, but he is going to hit.
He's going to hit 320 though, the way he's going.
280, 300, like 280 at worst.
He always does, and he's a fantastic fielder. I mean, Bogarts is great, no question about him.
And Devers is great, and JD Martinez is hitting. I just don't believe in their pitching even a little bit.
No, and their bullpen they don't have a very good bullpen either. You know, Eduardo Rodriguez has been up and down. The one guy who's really pitching well for them is Eovaldi right now. He's just been unbelievable. Yeah, but I wonder how long that's going to last. I mean, he's never done that in his whole career to sustain it for a whole season. Excuse me, for a whole season. So, kind of doubt that's going to happen. But look, I still think Boston comes in fourth this year. I don't care what they're doing right now. It's only May. It's only May 10th. So I'm not convinced yet. You know, let's see. Let's check with me again in August, and we'll see if they're still ahead of the Yankees, Toronto, and Tampa Bay, because I still think those are the three teams in the AL East.
Well, Toronto, you got to think they're going to play better. They don't even have Springer yet.
Well, he got hurt again.
Hurt.
Yeah, Ryu is back, so that helps. But Toronto, I mean, they've really been snake bit with the injury bug this year. So you got to wonder with them. I mean, sometimes some teams just for whatever reason. I mean, look at the Yankees the last couple of years. I mean, it just seems like teams that get injured. Once teams get injured, it just seems like it becomes a contagious thing that guys keep going down and going down and going down. It's weird how it works that way.
Who's the best team in the American League right now, Brad? Not like based on what we've seen through whatever 30 games, 40 games, whatever it's been.
I think Oakland.
I agree with you.
Right now, I mean, listen, I hate to say that. I know my friends who are Yankee fans are going to be laughing their ass, and the ones who hate the Yankees are going to be laughing. But I got to be honest. I mean, right now the Yankees have to show me more. Now they're going to get Britton back very soon.
Oh, the Yankees have the potential. The Yankees have the
potential. If everybody's healthy, I still think the Yankees are the best team in the league. But in the American League. But you know what? It doesn't matter if everybody's healthy. If they all are healthy and playing at the same time, yeah, they probably are. But that's a big if. You got a lot of guys that are injury prone. And Voit is another one that's always seems to get hurt every year. So hopefully this will be his last injury because he will really add to that team. Because all of a sudden, you put him if you're going to have Hicks bat third and Judge bat fourth and Stanton bat second. And then all of a sudden you put
why does Hicks bats third?
Because Aaron Boone has this thing about Hicks. But if Hicks is getting on base, which is what he usually does, he gets a lot of walks and a lot of home runs, and he is starting to come around, especially from the right side. But I mean, that's what they want to do. So I can't control Boone. I'm not a big fan of his.
I'm not a big fan of his either.
Yeah, you can't control Boone. Don't like some of the moves he made. I think both losses that the Yankees had, the two losses the Yankees had, I don't blame him for the national game. That wasn't his fault because Domingo Germán had to be pulled. You could tell he was done after he gave up the home run. To tie up the game, but taking out Garrett Cole after 91 pitches, pitching 7 innings. I don't know why you do that and then go to Green. You let Garrett Cole pitch 8 innings, okay, and throw his 100 pitches, which he's quite adept at doing, and then you just have him hand the ball right off to Chapman. I mean, the whole thing is you overwork this bullpen, and they're not going to be as effective. And I think Boone made a big mistake doing that. And Boone has been guilty a lot this year of doing some stupid things this year. I mean, I can't get into specifics because after a week I forget because he does something else that's stupid afterwards. So, that's kind of where it's at. And boy, Baltimore Baltimore, I have the Red Sox Baltimore game on right now, and I'm looking with 2 outs. One of the Red Sox just hit a line drive base hit to center field. I think it looks like Bogarts.
Nice.
It is
fantasy.
Yeah, right. He hits, but he goes and hits a base hit to center field. Okay, Mullins decides to try to make a diving catch and prevent it from getting a hit. Well, if Mullins just lets the ball drop and catches it on one hop, it's a single. But now that you did that, now it's a double, and there's a runner on second with 2 outs. You just don't do that. That's just, you wonder what the problem is with why Baltimore, whose roster, in my opinion, has gotten a lot better over the last couple of years, is going to continue to come in last place because they just do all the stupid things that you shouldn't be doing. I mean, you don't ever dive for a ball with 2 outs. Because if you miss and it's going to be a double, you're putting a guy in scoring position, and you don't want to have a guy in score. Who cares if a guy's on first base with 2 outs? You do care if a guy's on second base with 2 outs, though. So that's another Baltimore issue. So that obviously is a problem for them. But Oakland, they're really rolling right now.
And I guess I should be surprised because they don't they're big guys that are eligible for free agency. They're gonna go somewhere else. Simeon goes somewhere else. Liam Hendricks goes somewhere else.
They always seem to. They're very good. They're very good at scouting and bringing in new players. It looks like Diekman now is going to be the closer, I guess.
Former Philly. When I was a security guard, in 2015. I was a security guard that season. I saw every home game. 2015. They lost 100 games. They got the first pick in the draft, and then they picked Mickey Moniak, and they got nothing out of him. But I never understood why they just tossed Jake Diekman away at the trade deadline like that. I mean, he's a lefty. He throws hard. He can close. He can set up. I mean, I didn't understand throwing him away. I thought he was a good player.
You look at Oakland, okay, and you and I talked before our show about Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea is the number 4 pitcher on that team right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got Bassett, who's awesome.
Luzardo.
I mean, he's kind of stunk, but I mean, I think he has potential. Plus, he's hurt right now.
Yeah, Frankie Montas, who had been good, he's having a terrible start to the season. I think his ERA is still
now. Ramon Lorano in center field, he becomes a great guy.
I think he just got hurt.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he just got hurt yesterday. So
I mean, Lou Trevino, he comes in. He's getting saves. He's looking like a big league setup guy / closer.
Their pitching is good. They always manage to do the right thing, the way they manage their games.
Look at their corners, Brad. Look at their corners. Chapman and Olsen.
And Chapman.
They both hit for power, and they're both excellent fielders.
Yep.
They have Mark Canha right, who's been unbelievable.
He's been good for a while now. I mean, he's always been.
I hear you on that. He's been underrated for a while, but I mean this year.
But Oakland right now is without question the best team in the American League.
It's Mario Petit. He's pitching unbelievable.
Yeah. He's another one that's always been good for them. I mean,
Mitch Moreland plays his role great. Elvis Andrus.
And they really, what they do is they're a tremendous defensive team, and because and they're smart to be built that way because they got that crazy stadium with all that foul territory in it. So if there's a pop-up third base or first base, you've got 2 of the best corner infielders in the game that can catch everything down there. Their catcher is underrated, Murphy, but he's pretty good. He has a little bit of a stick. I mean, that team just wins and wins and wins. And don't forget, they were 0-7 to start the season. Yeah. And now what are they, 23-16?
Hold on, I have it.
Something like that. I mean, that's a tremendous team.
I'm buying the A's. I didn't buy the A's before the season, but I think that they're gonna walk away.
Yeah, I've been all over them.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think they're the best team in the American League right now.
Yeah, right now they are. They're
White Sox are pretty good as well. Well, the White Sox can pitch. If Carlos Rodon is gonna, I don't know. The A's or the White Sox.
Is Carlos Rodon going to be able to pitch the whole season without getting hurt?
Well, Giolito and Lance Lynn are terrific, a terrific 1-2 punch. And if you have,
Keuchel is looking good too.
That's right. They have Keuchel as well. So if you get Rodon in there as the fourth guy, Hendricks at the back end, you have Kopech ready to step in if someone gets hurt.
Yep.
Right now he's multi-inning relief. He's been awesome. And I've been surprised by Cleveland as well.
Yep. How about Texas?
Texas, they're 18-18.
That's a big
yeah. Surprise. I mean, I thought they were going to be dog shit.
Yeah, me too. But you know what? They can really hit. They got a lot of guys. They got a lot of guys that nobody's ever heard of on that team that hit the ball, and that's probably. Yeah, they probably come out of nowhere because I don't think anybody expected that. And their pitching hasn't been all that bad either.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my mulligan on my prediction. I picked the Angels in the West. I want to take it back. I want to pick.
Well, you're allowed. You're allowed. Yeah. Listen, I used my mulligan. I used my mulligan in the NHL with when I picked the Capitals to win the division, and changed it to the Penguins in the middle of the season. I think I might be right about that one.
One team that I'm not buying, who's off to a pretty good start, is the San Francisco Giants. I know that's not AL. We're switching back to the NL.
That's okay.
But I can't. Right? I mean,
yeah, I can't imagine that they're going to be a big factor for the whole season.
Anthony DeSclafani is going to be an Cy Young candidate over 162 games. Like. I don't think so. Kevin Gausman. I mean, Kevin Gausman's pretty good.
Kevin Gausman has always been pretty good.
Alex Wood. Alex Wood, he never can put 100.
No, because he's always hurt.
And then their offense. I mean, Crawford and Belt have been there forever. They're hitting the ball well. Posey's been out of his mind.
Yaz. They still have Yaz, and he's coming along.
Yeah, I like Yaz. He's off to a slow start, and he got hurt. He's on my fantasy team, so hopefully he can right the ship there. Obviously, he's got
out of him last year.
Obviously he's got the bloodlines there, and then the Dodgers are 18-17 right now.
Yeah, but you know what, the Dodgers
that's going to change. That's going to change.
Same thing with the Padres. That'll change too.
19-16. So I would flip. Well, I think the Padres are better than the Dodgers. So I like the Padres.
Yeah, they just might be
for a wild card.
They just might be. You know, everybody talks about the Dodgers, and I've been saying it for a while now. Offensively, they're not as good as everybody makes them out to be. They're just not. I mean, yes, Mookie Betts is great. I'll give you that. And I am so thrilled that Mookie Betts is a Dodger, and he's not a Red Sox.
He's not a pain in your ass anymore.
Exactly. I'll take my chances if I have to see him in the World Series, but he's not. I don't care how good Verdugo does. He's not make Mookie Betts.
Yeah, everyone wants to freak out about the Phillies bullpen. There's an elite team with the Dodgers that doesn't have a good bullpen. Shaky.
The Dodgers bullpen stinks, and the Dodgers have been really bitten pitching wise with the injury bug. I mean, they lose Dustin May for the season, and Dustin May was really pitching well.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know he was on your fantasy team. He was pitching really well.
Oh, he was fantastic. And I'll tell you the other thing is what last week I think I lost by 6 points to my opponent, and he pitched one inning and then he tore up his elbow in the second inning,
right,
and ended up with Tommy John surgery, and I lost by 6 points. You know,
yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, you know, we would have had 6 points.
He had 6 points in one inning.
Yeah, exactly.
In every inning he's pitched the whole season. So, yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's been fabulous. But I think Urias, is that the guy's name?
Yeah,
Urias. He's been injured too. I mean, I know that they're always trying to give Kershaw an extra couple of days off. By the way, I had the enjoyment of seeing Kershaw. I was all excited. I think it was last week. Kershaw was pitching against the Cubs in an afternoon game, so I was able to, sneak the TV on for a little bit while I was working. And Kershaw barely made it out of the first inning.
Yeah, he pitched bad.
Yeah, he was. I mean, first batter, I think, was Betts, and he struck him out. I think on three pitches, he threw 3 really nasty curveballs and struck him out. You're saying, wow, and then all of a sudden he couldn't get anybody out.
I mean, he's been good.
Yeah, he has.
Great, actually, but I mean, not that day.
That was his one bad day. Buehler is very good, and Bauer. I'll tell you what, Bauer's been worth every dime for them so far, because he's been very, very good.
From 2020, who's the best player in baseball right now?
Trout.
Mike Trout.
Trout easily. Right now, he's basically doing Roberto Clemente type things in the outfield.
He's hitting 380.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Clemente in his prime was doing that for a while. You just don't see that anymore. I mean, Mike Trout is just an unbelievable player. I mean, he does it. He does it all. I mean, he can steal bases when he wants to steal bases. I mean, I think if he actually decided to be a base stealer along with everything else that he does, he might get injured, but he could definitely steal you 40 bases in the season if he decided to just prove it one year that he could do it. I'm sure he could.
I wish he could. I wish he would just go 40-40.
Yeah, because I would
put that on his resume.
Yeah, well, you were kind of reading my mind there, weren't you?
Yeah,
that's where I was going with that, because I would like to see him try to do. He could easily.
What? No one's done that since what? A-Rod.
A-Rod never did that. No, Soriano did it. I think.
I think.
No, Soriano didn't. No, did he? Canseco did it. I know that. Canseco was the last one I think that did. I think Canseco's the only one that ever did that.
I know you're right. Canseco did it, but that was in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I mean, Soriano, I think, had 39 and 43 a couple of 39 home runs and 40 stolen bases twice.
So yeah, four guys have done it all time.
Yeah.
Two in the American League, 2 in the National League. Jose Canseco in 1988 had 42 home runs and 40 stolen bases. Alex Rodriguez in 1998 with the Mariners. He had 42 home runs, 46 stolen bases. Barry Bonds in 1996 had 42 home runs and 40 stolen bases, and Alfonso Soriano.
Oh, he did do it. Okay.
In 2006 with the Nationals, he had 46 home runs, 41 stolen.
Yeah, he didn't do it with the Yankees. I remember that. He came close. I remember. I think he had 39 home runs and he had 6 games to go, and they were all home games for the Yankees. And every time he got up, the fans were going nuts, and he was.
But he missed on home runs.
Yeah, he missed on home runs. He had 39 home runs and 42 stolen bases. So yeah, I remember he hit the wall on one in right center field, and everybody and he was getting booed when he got to second base.
Yeah,
Yankee fans.
All right, let's segue a little bit, because I do want to talk some NHL. We get the playoffs starting up. The Flyers have their last game tonight against the Devils. Before we get into these good teams, what happened to the Flyers, Brad?
They didn't play defense.
Major disappointment.
They didn't play defense for whatever reason. Their defense just backed in way too much and gave way too much space to the opposition, and they gave up a shit ton of goals. I think Hart lost his confidence a little bit, and I think a lot of that was because of the Flyers' defense. The Flyers' defense was really bad this year. I mean, they were giving up way too many A+ opportunities. I mean, a lot of the goals really Hart had no chance. I mean, you're not going to stop A+ opportunities in the NHL as a goalie. Not every time, at least. If you could stop like 65 to 66% of the A+ opportunities, then you're basically a star. And when I talk about A-plus opportunities, I'm talking about breakaways. I'm talking about shots from like 10 feet away and shots in the slot. You stop them. That's if you get too many of those shots, they're going to go in. I mean, it's too hard to stop them because you know what, you're going to have Trout in front of the net, and that's basically kind of what happened with the Flyers. And they weren't the only player really on that team that was real physical was Morin, and they need more of that. Yeah, in a way,
I don't even know where they go. I look at the team. I look at this roster.
They need a veteran defenseman, Rob.
It's just such a meh roster. None of these young guys have stepped up like I thought they were going to step up. Provorov didn't have a good season. No,
and they didn't. Well, Provorov actually did have a pretty good season. It was the rest of the guys that were the problem. You know, in particular, Sanheim and who's the guy that played with him? Sanheim and
Phil Myers.
Phil Myers was terrible this year. I mean, they had a lot. They had a lot go wrong defensively. I mean, they completely collapsed. Offensively, they were pretty good, but the problem with the Flyers is they're not that hard to contain offensively because they're basically a one-trick pony. They like to headman the puck, and that's Alain Vigneault's style. They're not big on dumping the puck in, going to get it, beating up the other team in the corner, and standing in front of the net and getting a lot of shit goals. They just don't do that anymore.
Well, like, I mean, Travis Konechny is supposed to be like this sniper, develop into this sniper. I mean, he didn't impress me one bit this season.
No, he did not have a good year. And
I mean, Coots is pretty good. G did pretty good. I mean,
Van
Voracek.
Riemsdyk had a very good year this year.
I mean, yeah, okay. And then, like, you're bringing back guys like Scott Lawton for $3 million a year, and, like, I guess that's okay. Like, it's a good value, I suppose.
Yeah, but he's a third-line center, and that's what you have. I mean, you're strong at center ice.
Wasn't he, like, the sixth pick in the whole draft, though?
Yeah, but the Flyers didn't pick him sixth, did they? He didn't.
I'd have to look it up.
I don't think he came up with the Flyers. I think the Flyers got him in a trade. So, I mean, who cares, you know? I mean, if he's effective for your team. You know, I mean, listen, the Rangers got Ryan Strome, and he was the fourth pick in the draft, I think, in 2015 with the Islanders. And, you know, he shit the bed in Long Island. Then he got traded to Edmonton, and he didn't do anything in Edmonton. And then you know, he came to the Rangers, and, you know, they put him with Panarin, and all of a sudden, you know, he's a 60 to 70-point guy. So, you know, sometimes it's just a question of putting these guys with the right players.
That guy's a stud, man. Panarin
is a great player.
He's so much fun to watch.
Yep, he is.
So much fun to watch.
He is, but my Rangers' big problem is that they were too wimpy.
Yeah, but the Rangers were, like, with respect, like, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs this year. Like, we thought maybe, and, like, they were, like, maybe a trendy dark horse pick.
I told you they were.
But, like, the Flyers, even you agreed that the Flyers were supposed to step up.
I thought the Flyers were going to win the division, and the team that could be out would be the Bruins. You know, and basically it looked like it was going to be the Capitals. But, you know, watching, you know, and I kind of go by when the Rangers play against these teams. I look at these teams, I look and see who I think is the best team I've seen play in that division. In my opinion, right now, the Penguins are by far and away the best team in that division. Their goaltending is just as good as the Islanders. They could score a hell of a lot more than the Islanders, and they're playing defense this year. Now, they're not as good defensively as the Islanders. Nobody is as good defensively as the Islanders. But you know what? I think Pittsburgh will score enough goals to beat them if they have to play them in the playoffs. And my new team to hate is now Washington. Tom Wilson, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was
seriously. I seriously hope that he gets hit by a car. So, you know, because since Artemi Panarin got hit by a car, I hope he gets hit by one too. Because, I mean, throwing a guy body slamming a guy twice when he doesn't have his helmet on, I mean, that's just...
Yeah, it was total Bush League.
And then he doesn't get suspended. But meanwhile, the Rangers, he gets a $5,000 fine. Meanwhile, the Rangers get a $250,000 fine for criticizing George Parros, who's probably one of the dumbest guys to ever be put in that position. I mean, here's a guy that was a goon and had about 40,000 concussions and can't even talk.
What's he, a ref?
He used to be a Maple Leaf, who used to fight all the time, and he was a pretty good fighter. But I mean, he also got his brains beat in quite a few times. I mean, yeah, this is a guy who you choose to be running your player safety department, a cheap shot artist, and he lets Tom Wilson go. And Tom Wilson, this is the 7th time he's been brought up on this crap, and he gets a 5.
It's always
he injured Panarin. Panarin couldn't even play the last 3 games. Not to mention that the whole thing started because Buchnevich was lying down on the ice, and Wilson came in and punched him in the face while he was lying down on the ice in a prone position. It's not like Buchnevich can fight either, And then they go out and because the NHL, I think the NHL wanted it. Next game they come out, they have 6 different fights in the first 5 minutes of the game. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a joke, and and the reason you have this joke is because you have a joke commissioner. I mean, we always talk about what an idiot Goodell is and what a clown Manfred is, but Bettman is about as clueless as they get. I wonder if that guy even knows what a hockey puck is. I mean, he's a good businessman. I'll give him that, but I don't think he knows what a hockey puck is. I seriously, that's how little that respect that guy has for the game, to allow somebody that's a goon and had no hockey ability whatsoever and never followed the rules. That's what you have running the show. I mean, why don't you just get Donald Brashear to run it and totally make a joke out of the director of player safety? I mean, let Donald Brashear do it. We all know what Donald Brashear was, okay? I mean, it's a clown situation, and you know what? If the NHL really wanted to clean up their act, they have a real man running the show instead of a real hockey player, instead of a guy who like Parros, who may have scored 20 goals in his career. He probably had more fights than he did goals. No question about that.
We look at the playoff landscape, and hockey playoffs. They're a lot of fun. The Flyers or Rangers aren't going to be a part of them.
Tough to pick them though, because there's a lot of upsets. That's what's so fun about the hockey play.
Like, you look at the East, and the Penguins are going to play the Islanders. I kind of like the Islanders there.
Yeah, I got to go with the Penguins. I think the way the Penguins are playing, that Kapanen deal was a big time trade for them. And Jeff Carter has come over there, and I think he scored.
But the Islanders, they made a big move too, and Boston made a big move too.
Yeah, well, the Islanders made a big move, but don't forget they also lost Anders Lee.
They did. Well, that's why they had to make a big move.
Yeah. So they basically getting Palmieri basically evened it up. I mean, Palmieri might be a little bit more of a sniper than Lee, and he's not as big a physical presence as Lee. And then you get the veteran from the Islanders, whose name escapes me at this time, but he's a good penalty killer, and he's a good leader for the team. So, I mean, they'll be okay. Taylor Hall's been outstanding for Boston. So, I mean, all those teams loaded up, with the exception of Washington. They really didn't do. Oh yeah, they did too. That's right. They picked up the guy from the Red Wings. What's his name? Graves, I think. So I mean,
I like Boston. I like Boston over Washington.
Oh, you think? Boy, I don't know about that.
Yeah, with Hall.
You know what? Yeah, I would, because
I don't know.
Thinking about it.
Bergeron and Pasternak and Rask and that, and they're battle tested.
Yeah, I don't like Washington's goaltending. They don't have a veteran goalie, and you're starting 2 rookies in the playoffs, and don't like that at all. Don't like that at all. I could see. I think you might be right about that one. I think that could happen. If Boston can score goals, Boston sometimes has these moments where they just can't score. So if they can do that, they'll be fine. I like Pittsburgh over the Islanders for sure. And I like Pittsburgh to come out of that.
I guess you got Pittsburgh. Then you got Pittsburgh. It'll be Pittsburgh and Boston. That'll be a really good series.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. But as I said, I just think that Pittsburgh's goaltending, between Jarry and Casey DeSmith, they were really good this year. I mean,
who are they going to go with though? Can you go through a playoff run? You know?
You can go through a playoff run with 2 goalies.
Yeah? You think that'll work?
If you have to. Listen, you go with the guy who's playing better. They're both they're both number 1 goalies. So, I mean, and there's a pretty good chance they're going to lose one of them to Seattle. But I would, right now, I guess I would probably go with Jarry. But, I mean, I think DeSmith is better than Jarry, but Jarry plays more. But, I mean, that's tough. They're both really good.
And then you look at the North, and the North is got to be Toronto, right? Toronto.
I bet you Toronto finds a way to lose.
Yeah?
Yep.
So who's going to come out? Because, that's really the only one that we have stuff to be determined because of Vancouver and their COVID situation. But not even really.
I mean, Toronto, to me, is vulnerable because of their goaltending. I know that their goaltending has been pretty good, but the guy that's been playing goal, and I don't remember his name, but he's a rookie too. And I don't know. I mean, he's definitely better than Frederick Anderson. As you know, I've mentioned a million times I don't like him at all, and he's always proven me right. But I could see them losing. I could see Winnipeg beating them. Winnipeg's a good defensive team. Montreal, I just don't see them having enough offense to beat Toronto in the first round of the playoffs. I just don't see that.
But who comes out? Who comes out of the North? Because we got to get to a Final Four.
I think Winnipeg is going to come out of there. You want a long shot? I'll give you a long shot. Winnipeg. They got the best goalie, that's for sure. I mean, that division has terrible goaltending.
Yeah, so. I don't trust Toronto. They score a lot of goals, but then Edmonton, they always seem to fall flat on their face.
Yeah, Edmonton has something to prove. I think Edmonton loses to Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs.
And then, the Central is a decent division.
Central is tough because those 3 teams are brutal. Tampa Bay, Florida, and
I like Florida
and the Canes.
I like Florida.
Yeah, I still have to go with Tampa Bay. I know Stamkos got hurt again, but Kuznetsov is going to be back. So, that you're just trading one great player for another. I think in a playoff series until further notice, you have to go with Tampa Bay in that division.
But
stiff competition though, because they're going to have to go through. They're probably going to have to go through.
Pretty good. Florida's pretty good, Brad.
Florida is good, and they're going to have to go through Florida and the Canes. That's not going to be easy. I mean, in the past,
I love Barkov. I love Hornquist. I love Aaron Ekblad on the blue line. I think he's pretty good.
Oh, they're very good. Listen, Florida.
Duclair can play.
Florida can score.
I'm missing the other guy. Jonathan. It starts with an H.
Huberdeau.
That guy can play.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, they're real good. I mean, listen, what's amazing is that they traded Vinny Trocheck, and Vinny Trocheck came back this year, and he had a big year in Carolina. Carolina is going to be tough too.
And then you got Bobrovsky and Neck, and you got Quinville as the coach.
Yeah, the Panthers. The Panthers are a good team now. I mean, they proved it this year. They really, really played well. I just don't know if they're up to beating Tampa Bay in a playoff series yet. I mean, that's a young team. That's a very young team still. So, I mean,
not now. When? Not now.
Tampa Bay. You'd have to think that at some point, maybe they're gonna be tired from playing all those games. I mean, that could happen too. I think if they get out of their division, they're going to be almost impossible to handle. And then you get the West, and
which is Vegas and Colorado are just on a collision.
Right, and I picked that. By the way, I did pick that one right for a change. I never get that division right. I think that's the first time I've ever gotten that division right.
St. Louis and Minnesota, they're going to make the playoffs, but
Yeah,
I
but
don't think they're
St.
gonna
Louis is
beat
garbage.
those teams.
Yeah, St. Louis is garbage. Minnesota's not going anywhere either. I'd be surprised. I mean, they had a good season, but
I mean, Colorado is really good, and Vegas has just been.
Vegas just plays well defensively, and they can.
They let them get. They made the rules so that Vegas got too many good players in the expansion draft.
Well, the same rules are going to apply for the Kraken too. So
Are the Kraken just going to like be instant contenders like the Golden Knights are,
they're going to be good,
and just be a powerhouse?
they're going to be. They could be
Doesn't
good.
seem fair. Is that fair? That doesn't seem fair.
Well, let me ask you this: they're paying. They paid $200 million to join the league.
Right.
Okay. Don't you think they deserve to get some decent players?
I hear you on that.
Listen, I'm playing the other side of the coin. I know that
I get it, but like,
my opinion's not going to be appreciated by most people. But I'm just asking you. Don't you think if you're going to make a $200 million investment, that you at least should be able to have a chance to get some decent players on your team? I mean, why do you have to be the worst team in the league?
I get it. You get some decent players. But I mean, Vegas, didn't they go to the Cup their first year?
Well, you got to give their coaching staff a lot of credit, and they
get that. Who's going to coach the Kraken? They even pick yet?
Well, McPhee I think is going to be the GM there. So I mean, you're talking about the same GM who built up Florida. I mean, I don't even think they have a coach.
Like you said, they're probably going to grab Voracek from the Flyers. They're probably going to get one of those Penguins goalies.
If they don't protect Voracek, they're going to get him. Okay, they can grab one of the Penguins goalies. I mean, they're going to get some decent players, because you can only protect 6 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie. Okay. Now, anybody who's played 2 years or less, you don't have to protect, because they're ineligible. So anybody who's a third-year player, is going to get burned. Now, the Rangers are.
And they pick one guy from every team.
Every team can only lose 1 player. But
so there's going to be teams that don't lose anybody.
No, because they have to pick up. They can get guys for their taxi squad too. So, and for their minor leagues,
and then they're going to get the first pick in the draft automatically, or no?
No, I think they get the third. Tampa, no. The Vegas got the 6th pick, I think.
I couldn't tell you that.
So I think
that's your department. With
yeah,
that.
Vegas, I think, got the 6th pick. Did they get the 6th or the 3rd? I think it was the 6th. So
because I do remember when the Browns came into the league in 98 or 99. 99, I think it was. They automatically got the first pick because it bumped the Eagles out of the first pick.
Yeah, but it's a little football.
The Eagles had the pick second.
Football's a little different because
Which thank God the Eagles got the pick second, because Tim Couch went to the Browns, who was a stiff, and then we got Donovan.
Yeah. So I mean, that worked out. That worked out okay. Seattle's going to get some decent players. They're absolutely going to get some decent players. And you know what? The real young teams are not going to get burned too. The Rangers are not going to get burned that badly.
They're young.
Yeah, most of their players, I mean, Adam Fox has only been in the league for 2 years, so they don't even have to protect him. I mean, their defense is completely covered. The Rangers, if they lose anybody, they'll be 4th-line players who weren't really playing that much. So, they're not losing anybody that's.
I don't know. To be an expansion team and just get handed like this roster that can like win a championship, like what happened in Vegas, I don't know about that.
Well, listen, that they were a lot better than you could have thought that they were going to. I mean, when I saw their roster,
yeah, but they're contenders every year.
Yeah,
right?
well, because they got a good organization though. But I mean, remember they also got Fleury as their goalie. Okay, and how many teams get a 2-time Stanley Cup champion? Was it 2 or 3? Maybe it was 3. I can't even remember anymore. But I mean, you get a 3-time Stanley Cup champion as your starting goalie. I mean, damn, that's pretty darn good. And they went for size. And they had excellent coaching. and they're that team is tough as nails. And you know what? And they still have Ryan Reeves on their team, which I am praying to God the Rangers try to get. By the way, so he protects all the good players on the team, and they're very tough to play against, and they're incredibly good at home, much like the Avalanche. I mean, listen, if the Avalanche stay healthy, they may not, nobody might be able to beat them. I mean, it's extremely possible. How about Nathan McKinnon, who's a superstar, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody ran him like a couple of games ago, and I mean, the guy was twice his size, and he beat the tar out of the guy. I never knew Nathan McKinnon could fight like that. I bet the guy that got beat up didn't know either. But that's going to be interesting, those two teams.
I like the Avalanche a lot. They're fun to watch. They move the puck. They score goals.
In a playoff series between the Golden Knights and Avalanche, I can't go against the Avalanche in a playoff series. As I said, in a long season, I would go with Vegas because they're a little deeper. But in the playoffs, a lot of teams shorten it up. The fourth lines don't get more than 10 minutes apiece, playing time apiece. You're not going to see them out there for 14, 15 minutes. You're going to see a lot of that. And Gabriel Landeskog, this might be his last season in Colorado. I think you're going to see a lot extra from him. That team's just unbelievable. It's going to be very, very tough to replace them. By the way, I made a mistake before with Washington. It was Anthony Mantha that they got from the Red Wings, not Graves. Graves is on the Avalanche. So my apologies.
A couple straggler comment. Chrome's in the house. He agrees to the poll because the division is really up for grabs, but they need to grab another bullpen arm and a starter at the deadline at least. I'm still grabbing a center fielder before I'm grabbing an arm. I'm still grabbing a center fielder before I grab an arm.
I still think
at least one that can defend. At least one that can defend.
I think that Colomé and Buxton are going to be available around the trade deadline. I think Minnesota is going to have a horrible season. They've got zero pitching. Their bullpen is in shambles. The only guy on that team that's really hitting right now is Cruz. I mean, I don't see any. Kepler's got 2 home runs. I mean, I was actually considering picking him up for my team, but I was like looking at the stats. I was like, oh my God, he's putrid. So I mean, I just don't see Minnesota. To me, just looks like they've had it. They need some young blood in that team,
which the Phillies don't really have, which makes trades tough.
True, but not that many teams are looking for a center fielder. Reliever, center fielder, no.
Question from Don19 out of Detroit: is Connor McDavid in his prime better than Ovi in his prime? I'll let you answer that, Brad.
No. And the reason I say no is because Ovi is. I like big, strong, mean players. Okay, that's what I want on my team.
That's Ovechkin.
Yes, finesse players need tough guys to play. Alex Ovechkin, no matter what team he's on, would be great because if you really want to mess with the guy, he'll tear your head off. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. He's impossible to move from in front of the net. He'll beat the crap out of you. When he checks, he hurts you because he's so strong, and he's got that blazing shot. And he sets up about 30 feet from the net, so you can't really get him in front of the net and beat him up in front of the net. That's what makes him so good. The fact that they haven't won a cup, they only won 1 cup. I don't blame him. I don't blame any of these guys for how many cups they win because you know what? Winning the Stanley Cup is hard. Because everything has to go right for a hockey team to win the Stanley Cup.
And they had some loaded teams that didn't get it done.
Exactly. And you know what? And when the problem is when you win the Stanley Cup, the next season you've played so many games the next season, most of the time, these teams get off to terrible starts and they run out of gas. Then they pick it up, but then they run out of gas at the end of the season and they get bopped out in the first round or two of the playoffs. So that's why it's real tough.
Pete Evans, he agrees to the poll, so he hasn't lost faith.
Nah, and you
He's
should.
going to be fine. I think this Phillies team's going to be fine. I really do.
Yeah, I do.
I really do.
I look at the Phillies and the Mets, and right now, okay, the Mets have definitely the top end. They own the top end with their starting pitching. I think the Mets bullpen is as bad as it is. It's a little bit better than the Phillies bullpen, but it's not like you're talking. The Mets don't have a Yankee type bullpen. They don't have a guy like Chapman in the back. It's not like that. So, their reliever tends to give up quite a few home runs. I think the Phillies have a better lineup, and at this point, that's anybody's battle. And I think by the end of the season, I think Philly has a little bit more depth.
Perfect segue there, Dante. And Tommy, the only thing I can say about their road issues is that they can't get worse. I mean, you're 5-11 on the road. It's horrendous. And every time Nola, this supposed ace, takes the mound in Atlanta, he gets lit up. He has 7 ERA in SunTrust Park. It's not good. This is why people like me have ammo to say that Aaron Nola isn't an ace. And I still think I don't think he is. I don't even know if he's the best pitcher on the Phillies. Like in the spectrum of Major League Baseball, Aaron Nola is not an ace. And last night kind of proved that. But like I said, I can excuse Sunday Night Baseball last night. Because if you win Saturday night like you're supposed to, you salt that one away, you're up 7-4 in extra innings. I mean, good God, you can't win that baseball game. Are you kidding me? And you lose Sunday Night Baseball. They also in Atlanta. No one's enraged today. No one.
They had a big lead. They had a big lead to going into the ninth inning of that game too. That was what was so ridiculous.
We'll talk some NBA. Don 19 thoughts on Jaylen Brown being out for the year. Look, I don't think the Celtics were going anywhere with Jaylen Brown, and now I certainly don't think they're going anywhere without Jaylen Brown. The Celtics just aren't a good team. I can't explain it. Maybe Brad Stevens, maybe that college mentality got stale. Maybe they missed Gordon Hayward and Daniel Theis way more than we could have anticipated, but the Celtics aren't a good team.
I think that team is just stale. I think they need a little fresh blood. I don't know. I don't think it's the coach. I just think that they need to just make a few moves. They've had the same players on that team for a while.
Like, it's surprising because I think Brad Stevens is a good coach, and I think he knows his X and O's, but all I see is when I watch the Celtics is like iso ball. Either Tatum or Brown trying to be a hero and get two. That's why I look at the Sixers and I'm so excited for the playoffs because the Sixers are a talented team that plays basketball the right way. They're well coached. They have a superstar, Joel Embiid. They have great complementary pieces in Tobias Harris and Simmons. And then you have shooters like Green and Curry and Dwight Howard coming off the bench is great. George Hill was a great signing. Brad, I've never been more confident in a Philadelphia team in my life than I am in this.
They look good.
In this, I think they're going to win it all. I really do. I'm very confident that the Sixers are going to win it all. I really do. I'm not buying the Nets. I think they're better than the Bucks.
I don't know that the Nets are going to be healthy for the playoffs.
And that's hilarious because all I kept hearing when I said the Sixers in 5 over the Nets were, the Sixers probably won't be healthy. Well, hold on a second. The Nets haven't been healthy the whole time that they've had that clown car rolling down the street.
We didn't expect Harden to get hurt. I think that was the. I mean, they haven't had a lot of games with all three of them playing.
Shocker. And then James Harden comes up small when it matters most yet again because he's not even going to be on the court. Shocker.
Well, supposedly he's going to be playing in the playoffs. I'm
sure he will.
If I were Brooklyn, if he wasn't 100%, they should still be able to win in the first round. So I would.
You're probably right about that.
I would be very careful about bringing him back too early, because the idea for them is to win a championship, not worry about if they can't win in the first round with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on their team. Then shame on them.
And Don 19, to answer your question, yeah, I do think the Celtics are going to get eliminated in the play-in because I think they might have gotten eliminated even if Jaylen Brown were healthy. And now he's out, and the Hornets are pesky. So, and the Wizards are just playing out of this mind. Out of their mind. Russell Westbrook is putting up Xbox numbers right now.
You know what? And I'm happy for them because you know what? Their fans have been waiting a long time to see some decent basketball. And
the only thing with them, Brad, is Bradley Beal. He strained his hamstring the other night.
Oh, are you serious?
So we'll have to see how that develops.
That's a shame. You know what? That would be a shame if he can't play in the playoffs.
Still.
Like my Knicks the other day, yesterday, come up with a big win against the Clippers. That was a big surprise. They may actually hang on for the 4 spot. I don't think
because the semifinals is going to be Sixers versus Knicks, which I fully expect maybe the Knicks can steal a game. Maybe.
Well, you know what? If the Knicks get past the first round, then you know what?
The Hawks stink. You're going to beat the Hawks.
Well, you know what though? If they can get to the point where they get knocked off in the second round by the Sixers, nobody in New York's going to be upset about that. You can't be. You can't expect.
And then they're playing with house money because all the pressure will be on the Sixers.
Exactly. I mean, listen.
So maybe they steal a game against the Sixers.
You know what? Maybe.
But if I had to bet, I would bet the Sixers in 4.
Yeah,
I think
they're not as good as that. Though I think that I will preface it by saying I will guarantee you that those games are going to be close.
The Nets are pesky.
The Knicks will battle you. They don't have enough talent. I mean,
not yet.
They just don't.
We'll see because now I always make fun of your Knicks in the offseason because the Knicks fans think they're going to get everyone under the sun. Now they might get some people because they've shown that Randall can play and Barrett is pretty good.
The interesting thing is, and I know everybody's gonna kill me for saying this, but you got to wonder about Kawhi. Maybe he decides to come to New York. I mean, if he takes a look on on Fifth and Madison Avenue, you know he's going to be taking a look at a pretty decent team now. You know,
right? You're absolutely right.
You put him, and Julius Randle. Everybody likes Julius Randle. He's not,
and he's a great fit with Tibbs because he'll play defense.
Yep, they all play defense. You know what? I think they have a very realistic shot if he came there to be able to compete with the Sixers and the Nets. I mean, and Milwaukee. They're not. They're good. Listen, from where they came from to where they are now. Hey. Great, they can get a guy like that, then that would mean that they mean business.
Like I'm really confident that the Sixers are going to. Because I don't know what to make of the West. Because I think the 3 best teams might be the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Nets in that order. Because I think the Bucks take out the Nets in the second round. I don't even think the Sixers are going to have to tangle with the Nets.
Well, we'll see.
To be honest, I mean. And then I think the Sixers match up really, really well with the Milwaukee Bucks. And then in the West, I mean, I'm a big LeBron fan, and I'm not a fan of his mouth or his politics or anything like that, but I am a fan of the way he played basketball. I think it's hilarious how he changes his tune now about the play-in tournament, saying how whoever because he's got to play in it, and he says now he says whoever thought of this should be fired. Well, now he's probably gonna have to play the Warriors.
Does he like
Steph Curry in the play-in series?
Does he like getting that big paycheck of his? Because the NBA's got to make up some revenue for the lost for the fans not being in the building, so he needs to just pipe down and play.
But they go out without LeBron and Anthony Davis leads him. I'm still not picking against the Lakers in the West. I'm really not because I don't think Utah beats them in a 7-game series.
Do they have the legs to compete with Phoenix, though?
I mean, they just beat Phoenix yesterday without LeBron. So I would say yes.
Okay. Well, I mean,
and you know how I feel. You know how I feel about Chris Paul in a big spot.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Next
true.
big shot he hits will be his first. And the guy is a tremendous player, and he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame one day because everybody in the NBA that averages 20 points a game makes the Hall of Fame. It's a complete joke. There's no exclusivity in it at all.
He's never done anything in the playoffs. So, and I want you got to wonder what he thinks about the fact that, and I'm going back to the Knicks, but when the Knicks got Derrick Rose from Minnesota, did anybody really think twice about that, or was it Detroit? It was Detroit.
It was Detroit. They got him from Detroit.
They got him from Detroit. Nobody really thought that much of that. I was like, why are they getting him again? What are they
playing really well?
Oh, he's been.
Well, it made sense because he won the MVP of the league when Tibbs was his coach in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing really well. I mean,
he tore his ACL and kind of wilted away there for a while.
Listen, all he needs to do, he needs to just play off the bench. They do need a starting point guard, but if you let him come in off the bench, I mean, he's been a tremendous bench player all season for them. Because he doesn't start the games. Peyton does. Peyton's terrible, by the way. He couldn't guard you right now, Peyton.
Oh, I like what the Knicks are doing. They're just not.
No.
They're just going to get swept by the Sixers in the second round.
But if you're a Knicks fan, you take that.
And then I have a great feeling about the Sixers. Like, I'm more confident in this Sixers team than I was in 2017 with the Eagles because obviously in 2017 you're confident the whole way, and I didn't think that the Eagles were going to be able to win the championship, win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as the quarterback. I don't think anybody did. And if somebody wants to look me in the face and tell me they still thought the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl after Carson Wentz got hurt, I'll call him a goddamn liar. I mean, 2008, I was pretty confident in the Phillies, but, I mean, this Sixers team is really strong. If you have to play Maxey in the playoffs for whatever reason, like he can play.
Well, what the other thing that Doc Rivers has done that's good is he's let those guys play a little bit. So it's not like if they go in, they didn't get a lot of playing time. He's let them play, and that to me is the sign of a good coach because what he's doing is he's getting all these guys ready, and he'll get these guys ready for the playoffs. Now you're gonna see a little bit less minutes from some of you.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're 3 games up. They're 3 games up with 4 to play.
Right. So they're at this point they have to be.
Yeah, it's not mathematically clinched, but it's
clinched. But they need to lighten up a little bit with the playing time.
And they've been playing dog shit teams. They've been playing the bottom of the league on this last road trip.
But everybody else
worked out for them.
Yeah, but you know what, Rob? When people
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, and I complain about the schedules too. But you know what? Everybody gets to plays the same team, the same schedule.
I'm just saying, you could sit Joe and you still might win because you're playing bad teams.
Okay, and they might just do that.
Yeah.
They might just do that. And
so it's not like it's not like there's a debate on whether, do we want the 1 seed or do we want to be rested? You have the 1 seed and you're playing such bad teams that you might win anyway, even rested.
And there's a good chance in the second round you'll be ending up playing the Knicks or the Hawks.
I think that's a certainty.
Yeah.
If the Final Four in the East isn't Sixers, Knicks, Bucks, Nets. Yeah, something went completely awry because the Hawks aren't good.
Yeah, somebody's getting fired.
I mean,
well, Thibodeau isn't getting fired, but somebody's getting fired.
Like Steve Nash, and honestly, I think the Nets are like the least. Like, if someone's gonna throw a monkey wrench in that, I think it's gonna be the Nets.
Well, who would they play? If they play the Heat. Nah, probably not because
because the Heat are going to have to play. I just had it up. The Heat are going to have to play.
The Heat. The Nets just killed the Heat this season when they played them. The Heat can't match up with them.
The Heat are going to have to play. They're the 6th seed.
Right.
They're going to have to play Milwaukee. So I don't know. Maybe Milwaukee might win, but I don't think so. I don't think
they would play. No, they would play the Nets if the Nets come.
Nets are the 2 seed.
Oh, they're the 2 seed right now. Okay.
So the Nets are going to play either the Celtics or or the Hornets.
By the way, the Red Sox right now are losing 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th. So.
You might get Cesar Valdez will get a save for me against you in fantasy. All right, we got to line up. We got to sign off. I think the Flight Zone will be coming up next. Not sure. Thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Alan Foyd, eXp Realty, All Campus, Johnny Coyle down there at All Campus, recovering from the fire. Visit the GoFundMe page. Look at any of the social media accounts of the town here. You can contribute there. I feel like I'm missing one. Body Check Wellness. Check out bodycheckwellness.com. Use the promo code A2D Radio for 20% off. And phillydrinkers.com, A2D collection. Get all your merch. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Rinkman. Shout out to Frank Vesby for producing the program. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.